We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, and it's now 4:30 p.m. Jenna, if you can call roll. I'm sorry. Colton, if you can do invocation. If everyone could stand for invocation, continue to stand for the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for this day and thankful for the brief rain shower we had, the reminder of your continued blessings, Lord. I ask you that you bless the court this evening, and Lord, I ask you to bless each and every person represented and their families, Lord. May all that we do tonight be glorifying to you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, Jenna, could you call roll?
Magistrate Humphrey.
Present.
Magistrate Coldiron.
Present.
Magistrate Riley.
Present.
Judge Chuck Dills.
Present. Item 5 on the agenda, we have the approval of the special meeting minutes for May 20th, 2024, special meeting minutes of May 31st, 2024.
Having read the special meeting minutes of May 20th, 2024, and of May 31st, 2024, I make a motion that we approve as presented.
I'll second.
And motion made by Magistrate Coldiron, second by Magistrate Humphrey. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Appears all in favor, motion carries. Moving down to item 6, fiscal matters. 6A is approval of the claims on the general fund, the road fund, and jail fund, along with all transfers presented dated June 4th, 2024.
I make a motion this evening to pay the claims against the general fund, the jail fund, the road fund, along with the transfers as dated for June 4th, 2024.
I second.
A motion made by Magistrate Riley, second by Magistrate Coldiron. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Appears all in favor, motion carries. Moving down to item B, we have Jerry Keith with us from Department of Transportation, their engineer. He's going to talk to the court on the state road projects and the availability of flex funds. Thank you, Jerry, for joining us tonight.
Judge, members of the court, thank you. You all should have this in front of you, and it's driving me nuts. It's not Keeper Road. We'll get to that. It's Kiefer. I'm going off a little bit, but I just did see that. But anyway, this year's rural secondary program, we've all been through this. I'll go through this year. Any questions I'm happy to answer, but the overall allotment for Grant County, you can see at the very top, is $1,204,192. Every year they pull out a maintenance and traffic pot of money from that, so we negate $481,100. Last year, our pot of money had a remaining balance, or a free balance, of $111,050 unspent. County judge executive expenses come out $38.75, and then this year's flex funds that have been cut out for you, if you choose to accept them, are $180,629. From last year, you had a carryover balance of $145,133. That's already been accepted, but it's still in your pot of money. So if you choose to keep this year's flex funds, you will have a total pot of $325,762. Okay. So that leaves us, the state, $649,638 to do some resurfacing with. This year's program for us is very simple. We plan on hitting Kiefer Road from US 25 to Kiefer Lawrenceville Road, that entire length, 3.69 miles, and then Gardnersville Road, Kentucky 491, from US 25 as far as we can take our money. And it looks like at this point we can go out about 1.5 miles. Okay, so those are our two routes this year. And then, again, with the flex funds, if you choose not to accept them and they go back into our pot, we would just further extend Gardnersville Road this year. We'd get about another 1.5 miles or just under. Wouldn't complete it, but we would get a good piece of it.
Okay.
in that. So that's basically and simply where we're going this year, and always looking ahead. You know, we know we're not going to finish Gardnersville Road. We have it kind of in the spotlight for next year, and then some portion of Kentucky 1995. That's the way it's looking right now. That could change. You know, roadways deteriorate constantly, it seems like, and you never know what you're going to be looking at next year. So we'll always reevaluate.
Jerry, what's the funds on the road slippages, the state road slippages? Is there some already allocated?
There really are none. What happens is it's something we can ask for. We rarely get, but sometimes Frankfurt develops a pot of money. They get some, maybe get some federal assistance and different things where they'll come to us and say, hey, here's what we have for you to spend this year, and where you can spend it, you know, which section office. Of course, I'm Williamstown, you know, have a fairly large district, but that's about how it's been over the last few years is when they present it to us.
But now some of the slippages are being fixed now, aren't they already with some funds?
I have none currently.
Okay.
The district may have something going on in other areas, but as far as Grant goes, and even Harrison, I don't have any active slide projects going on.
So some of the projects could be done by District 6 out of Buttermilk Pike and not actually through the local.
Barn.
Well, they would be either distributed, you know, to Boone County, Kenton County, you know, Campbell County, you know, Grant would get a piece of the pot when those funds are available, but I haven't been presented any.
Said another way, none of the current slippages on US 25 or 22 are on the radar.
They're certainly on my radar, and I keep a spreadsheet of those, so when we do get the opportunity to fix some, you know, we kind of have them prioritized, and you know, sadly, we just don't have the money to spend, or at least I don't get the money to spend. You know, I can tell you 2 years ago, I believe I spent the biggest part, about $1.6 million between Grant and Harrison, the majority in Grant, on some slides and drilled rail and things like that. But I haven't seen any funding since.
Okay. And if you know, do you know, like the mowing crews, you all contract that out, or they already started?
Yes.
On the state?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because I know we all field calls on all the roads, and a lot of times they're state roads that they're calling on out of our control.
Yeah, they've cut that cycle. You used to get 3 mowings years ago. Now you were lucky to get 2. But I have seen them out. I don't supervise that. My back barn does, so I'm not really sure where they're at or what their schedule is, but I have seen them out and about.
Yeah, I think they started in Harrison County this year, and when I called a couple weeks ago, it was undetermined if they would go to Pendleton next or Grant. But I don't know if you could influence if they would ever start here, just because of I-75 and the number of tourists coming in. And the State Barn did indicate that they would try to in-house take care of some of the right-of-ways. It's just with our wet season, it's so bushy.
It has been very wet, absolutely. And Tim King is the gentleman's name that I'll contact.
Tim King?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's in
Yep.
the agronomy department.
Okay.
What happens if something becomes an emergency, like on 25, getting close to Dry Ridge and the cemetery? I mean, that looks like it could fall any time.
Do you know
That
which
it-
one she's talking about?
I do.
Yes.
I've looked at that, and actually, it's been a few weeks. But Frankfurt is setting their geotechnical department up. They got to do some testing in that area to see if we can do a drilled rail type of repair. If we can get into rock, we have to determine how deep the rock is, or if we're going to do a gabion basket repair, or try to get some emergency soil nail repair done. So it's in the works. It is. It's
Okay.
That's good.
It takes time. I mean,
I know it
can't-
does,
It's
but
pushing a rope. To be honest.
But when you say there's no money for slippages, you get really concerned when that's just
When
going
something like that happens, yes. And that's not, I mean, these slides, I mean, even the smallest ones on a soil nail type of repair, I mean, you're talking the biggest part of $250,000.
Oh, I know.
in today's
We
dollars. I mean,
understand.
it used to be you'd get them for anywhere from 50 to 100. You could get
Yeah.
fairly far, but I mean, the price is just inflated so high that,
I know.
you know, even when you get a $500,000 to spend, you can't fix much.
The road paving's doubled on what it was costing us.
That's exactly right.
The last comment that I wanted to make on Kiefer Lawrence, the Grant County school system has had on our radar for us to replace one of the water crossings due to the water coming up. And so I would love if that is in our budget to do upcoming year for that water crossing, which we were seeking $80,000 from the state to help offset that. If we also pave that road, I would like us to coordinate when that happens.
Okay.
Because there looks to be the opportunity to gently redirect that water crossing so that it's an easier through, according to the constituent that owns the property that sees it daily. And our Mr. Tatum, our road supervisor, is aware, but it's coincidence that's been on our radar for 5 years in the pecking order, and it's now came up to that. And this is the first I was learning that would also be a road that the state would pay. So if we can just make sure we coordinate, if we end up in a position of repairing that water crossing for the school buses and for the ambulance.
Okay.
So we'll mention that to Mr. Tatum too as we approve the plans.
Okay.
If no one else has any questions for Jerry, Jerry, thanks for coming up tonight.
Absolutely.
Presenting that. I recommend a motion that we keep the flex funds for repaving of county roads.
I'll second that.
Were you looking for a motion, or was that the motion?
I was asking for a motion.
I thought you made a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I will second the motion of keeping $180,629 of flex funds to be added to the road department for resurfacing county roads.
Hold on. What did you say?
Same as what you said, basically, but I just
Yeah,
put
what
a
was the
dollar
amount you just said?
It was $180,629.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, right?
Yes, and we already have the
We have
other.
a carry,
That
plus
is
the
correct.
carryover.
Yeah, at first I didn't know if you were adding. We already have the carryover, so
Just this, what he.
yes,
presented, yeah.
That's
186.29. So I have a motion made by Magistrate Humphrey, a second by Magistrate Riley. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
It appears all in favor. Motion carries. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, just and always just make sure you email me the minutes of this meeting,
We will.
and I can get that to Frankfurt, and I'll get your ball rolling.
We'll get it to you tomorrow.
Jerry, thank you also for always being available to help us troubleshoot and to get things done from your position down here at this county. So thank you.
Okay, moving down to item C. It's a first reading on amendment ordinance number 0005-2024-0272 pertaining to court fees. I can give you a brief description, and I can turn it over to our county attorney, Stephen Bates. This ordinance was adopted July 17, 2000, and it was under House Bill 577 that related to the collection of fees by the circuit clerk. We learned just recently that the House Bill 577 has expired, and there's a statute that picks up the same language. So we're just doing a house cleaning on converting it from House Bill 577 to the statute. Is that correct, Stephen?
Well said.
Okay.
Perfect. Nailed it.
So, yeah, nothing changes with the fees. That's all set by statute. We are just changing language to match what is currently being done now.
This is just the first
Yeah,
reading.
first
We'll do it,
reading.
yes, so we don't have to.
So moving down to item D, motion to amend policy procedure manual, policy number 327, has to do with health reimbursement account, also known as HRA. You all have that in front of you in the packet. This is a policy that was adopted back in 2011. It was reviewed, all the policy and all of our policy manual was reviewed in 2020. And due to some cutbacks when we were cutting back on some things on the budget, I'm asking the court to make an exemption that will not apply these benefit package to two categories. The first one's anyone retired under the state of Kentucky retirement system and receiving state health insurance. So, as you know, what happens is if you're not taking out the county's insurance, you can waive it and receive this benefit. That will eliminate anybody under that category. The other is also eliminating any elected county official that's elected. They will not be receiving that benefit. And that benefit totals $3,000. It's done on a 24 pay period of $125. And that's what consists of the flex spending card or additional insurance coverage like vision, dental, any such like that.
Cancer. policy.
Yeah, any additional policies other than the basic health insurance. And this only applies to these two categories that waive the insurance,
I'll
which
make a motion
affects,
to
I think,
amend-
about 18 people.
I'll make a motion to amend Policy and Procedures Manual, Policy Number 327, Health Reimbursement Account, HRA.
I second.
Have a motion made by Magistrate Humphries, second by Magistrate Codar. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Appears all in favor, motion carries. Moving down to item C, present for a motion to approve the standing order to approve certain reoccurring expenses to wit, which is the payroll, the utilities, the insurance premium payments to election officers, election commissioners, county clerk storage fees, and training meals for employees that are gone to training. That's what we approve each year with the budget. We need to get that approved this meeting. And this is going into effect for the 2024-2025 fiscal year.
I'll make a motion to approve the standing order to pre-approve certain recurring expenses such as payroll, utilities, insurance premiums, payments to election officers, election commissioners, county clerk storage fees, and training meals.
I second.
Have a motion made by Magistrate Humphries, second by Magistrate Codar. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Appears all in favor, motion carries. And Peggy's out here, she can get that sent on into Department of Local Government in the morning. Moving down, we don't have any old business to report on, 8 new business, none to report on. And you all have your reports in front of you. Treasurer's report, the animal shelter's report, road supervisor, building inspector, the coroner, the jailer. The jailer's in training. He's not with us tonight. The sheriff, I know Sheriff Maines is here. Did you already give your report to him? Okay. Actually got his report. Moving down to judge's report. I don't have anything to report on this meeting. Moving down to magistrate report. Jacqueline, anything to report on this meeting?
Not at this time.
Shauna?
No, I don't have.
Roger?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Which takes us down to 10, attending citizens address. I just want to announce we've scheduled a meeting for the second reading of the occupational ordinance, which will be our next regular meeting, which is June 18th at 4:30, and it will be here in the courtroom. But as we always have a citizen's address, we welcome anyone that wants to come up and speak to the court on anything. But as far as the occupational tax license, that will be on the agenda for the 18th meeting. So does anyone have anything to address the court with? Come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Parton. I am the first shift union steward over here at Local 3064 at Dana and Dry Ridge. Beginning in June, we do get a 50-cent raise. Okay? You guys are wanting to take half of my raise, which will be 22 cents on the hour of my pay. I don't know if you guys are single parents or single mothers or single fathers. I don't know that. But I have been single as with 3 children. Okay? It may not sound like a lot to you guys, but to somebody that I work with, that is a lot. Okay? It can mean like a house payment or the rent or a car payment or insurance, because we have to carry insurance. And it also means that a child may do without shoes or new clothes. we would like the county to make more cuts before you guys take in consideration of taking half of our pay on the hour. I know there's other counties that's around us that are a lot less than what we are. And I've talked with several people that we work with, and we feel that if the county was really that bankrupt, this is an easy way out for you guys, is to take more money from us taxpayers already. I just don't think it's right that you guys are going to raise our taxes again.
Believe it or not, I agree with you. And the county's not bankrupt. The county doesn't want to be bankrupt. And I get it. I mean, we've had to cut our budget, and talking about cutting budgets, we've slashed our budget approximately, a figure I'm coming up with is about 1.3 million is where we've cut the budget.
Okay.
Anything deeper than that, then we start cutting public safety. And I mean, I don't know that our county can do without public safety.
I mean, I understand the public safety. I understand that 100%.
Yes.
But I've got a printout of the expenses for 24-25 fiscal year. And I see on there a telephone service for $30,000. That's a lot. I mean, I've got cell phones, iPads, unlimited data on my cell phones, and $30,000. Is that just for you, Judge, or is it for everybody?
No, that's the whole county. I mean, I don't know what particular line item you're pointing out.
Okay, hang on just a second. I got it.
There's phones at the jail, phones here,
Yeah.
phones at the sheriff's department. So it's one of the two. I think that would probably be courthouse. Brian, can you speak to that? He's looked at contracts.
I don't know that that's cell phones.
It's not cell phones. It's
No.
Dash 5001 dash 573.
Peggy, can you help me out on?
courthouse, Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Which is both cell phones and the landline phones.
Okay.
Because we still have
What would
landlines.
you say, probably 30?
And not every employee in the county has cell phones. All the elected officials or supervisors and the road deputies have cell phones furnished to them.
Ma'am, would you read that line item again?
Okay.
Only because there's more
It is-
than, there's 31 pages.
Alrighty, it's 01 dash 500
500, okay.
dash 573.
Okay, that's on the very first page, 1 of 31, and that is like the countywide operations. I see why you would ask if that is his
Right.
cell phone allotment. No, because it is underneath the general fund of the courthouse.
All right. Well, I thank you guys. If I
Okay.
have any more, I'll be calling you guys.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
give us a
Thank
call.
you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to speak tonight? Sir, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Justin Hilton. I've lived in Crittenden all my life. I still do. And about this upcoming tax, I wanted to address most of us, this tax is going to be a big deal, like she was saying, because I get double taxed because I have to work in Boone County, so I get taxed by them as well. So this tax is going to be a big deal to me as well if it goes up, because I'm getting taxed again by you all, for living here. So, and you all said that there's no more cuts you can make, but if you look under E for the itinerary today, you guys are paying for training meals, so why can't that be cut?
That's the reimbursement when an employee's gone to training, to reimburse their food expense when they're required to go to training.
I work at a factory and I don't get reimbursed like that when I go for training,
Okay.
stuff like that. You know, catering.
What's, do you work in Grant County or Boone County, or both?
I work in Hebron.
Okay. So where are you getting taxed in Grant County yet
Sure.
on occupational tax?
Because I live in Crittenden, don't I?
Yeah, but occupational tax only applies to your place of employment if it's in Grant County. Yeah, so there wouldn't be a double taxation. There could be a shared tax if you were working from home and working in Hebron, where when you're working in Grant County from home, you would be taxed. But yeah, the occupational tax doesn't apply to, would apply to you.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Anyone else want to speak tonight? Okay.
Well, my name's Ben Webster. I also work at Dana Dry Ridge. Been there 20 years. I'm just curious, you know, I don't know the answer, so I come here to ask. I'm curious, is there any way we can get a list of who's exempt from paying this tax? I've rumor, mill, heard, you know, certain companies, certain organizations are exempt. I don't know if it's in one of the reports. I mean, that thing's so long, I didn't go through it. I'm just curious, and if they are exempt, why?
The county is no exemptions
No,
on
I'm not
any.
saying county. I'm
Oh.
saying like, you know, like I said, rumor mill,
Okay.
Probably,
yard.
yeah.
You know, they're,
Oh,
they
well,
don't pay sheriff's department. I heard there's. I read this. You know, like I said, I don't know the answer. I'm just curious because, like I said, I worked at Dana 20 years. This, you know, 1.5 went in effect. You know, and I've seen the list of every county around us. You know, and we're up there on the list on what we pay versus Boone County and some of these other counties. You know, not saying that I don't enjoy. I lived in Grant County my whole life.
right.
Just saying in general, you know, and I worked in Grant County pretty much my whole life. I'm just curious if that could be brung up to why they'd be exempt and who.
So the
And
occupational tax, the way that it's currently implemented, Mr. Webster, is if you are issued a W-2, that is who, and you work within this demographic of the county, that is who is.
So nobody necessarily is.
Yes, they
No.
are. Let me explain. I'm going to ask Colton. They're under a tax incentive.
Now,
The ARC is,
different story, yes.
and believe it or not, they do pay. The employees have a occupational tax taken out. We don't get that. It actually goes back to the ARC for the infrastructure that was built at the ARC, the water, the sewer, electric. That was something the city of Williamstown put in several business locations that would promote large businesses to come in. As far as property tax, which is a little different what we're discussing here in 2 weeks, the property tax is they pay everybody their full amount of property tax. It's about $1 million a year. The schools gets theirs. The city of Williamstown and Grant County, we only get somewhere between 25 and 30% of our property tax. So our property tax is about $100,000 from the ARC. We get about $28,000 is what we end up with.
Because they have an incentive kicked back to them. on that.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand kind of their issue, but you know, like I said, rumor mill. You know,
Colton,
so
is there any cleanup to what I just said?
No, the only other thing that our ordinance does specify is that postal workers do not pay the payroll tax,
that's the only other.
But you're
other than
probably,
TIF zones.
Yes.
yes, but you're probably poking around at, let's use my husband's barber shop. He is self-employed. He doesn't issue himself a W-2. He pays for an occupational business license, but he does not pay occupational tax. So you're probably looking at how many of those types of businesses, because the ordinance is designed current state off of a W-2.
Which would be any business owner.
And I get that. So
Yeah.
you know, not to pick on a own business owner, but what is their, you know, what I do, what I pay, what do they pay? Kind of sense.
Well,
Is
and-
it equal to?
No,
No.
well, currently, there's not a mechanism in place for that in this community, and transparently, as we look at a 2.5% current rate of an occupational tax, one would say, how could we share the obligation.
That's kind of
And
where
so-
that's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
Because
And-
there's a lot of I don't want to pick on the small business
No,
guy,
but-
you're picking out my wallet.
Yeah.
You know?
And
That's
so
a
that-
grocery bill a month for me. You know, because
And so that is exactly what this governing body is looking to explore. Cannot do it on the pace that we need to right now, which is why we need to go this route. But the commitment is here to explore other mechanisms
is there ever going to be a cap
to
Like-
the
like-
occupational
yes.
tax. Well,
possibly, or
I certainly hope that what is proposed current state isn't here 2 years from now, and that's dialed back down.
wasn't this last one supposed to be dialed back down?
It was.
Did.
It was.
It did.
Should have never been done.
And that's part of an element as to why we're here. But there's some kicking around the can of a net profit tax for business owners versus just employees paying. And
So when is that going to be brought to the table?
it just came up during our caucus on Tuesday
Yeah.
night, because I get it. Right now, the perception is the majority of where revenue is generated in this county budget comes from the working class, all of us in this room. And so how can we take a step back and look at another revenue stream that would reduce the burden from the working class? And so that was something that was proposed. We are just now beginning to scratch the surface of what that could look like.
And just another thing, I'm pretty sure you all know how a union works and how our negotiations work. So if we can't go to our job and say, hey, can we get more money? We got to wait for our next contract negotiation. That's another year and a half.
Yeah.
Another year and a half before we can go back to the table. So this last 4 years we got what we got. And we thought we got a good deal. I know, and here you are coming, taking out our pocket.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand there's bills got to be paid, things got to happen. But consider, I would think Dana would be your top 3, 4 employer in Grant
It is.
County.
It is. And we're very appreciative.
School system, us, and the ARC. But if ARC's not, we're not getting. I know we're getting a
They're
kickback,
paying,
but
but
not in this sense.
Yes.
So top 3, Dana's probably on your list.
Right.
I know a lot of people live out of county, and yes, they're not here today. To show they care, but they do care. There's a lot. I'm a trustee of our union, steward of our union. I've played many roles in our union, but I just wanted to voice my opinion on when's it going to flip on around to the other people getting taxed. And, not just picking on the people that
No.
have a W-2.
Absolutely.
Say it how it is.
Yes,
Believe
sir.
me, we're still researching this budget, every line, to see if there's something else that can be cut. It's not going to be an immediate cut.
No, I
It might
understand
take
that.
6 months, it might take 2 years, but there's areas that we are studying very hard. Unfortunately, it's not unique to us is the cost of inflation across the United States.
That's
It's just
another
absolutely-
reason why we're so concerned.
Absolutely.
You
I mean,
can't
with
go to
your
Walmart and
industry-
get out of there without $100 spent.
Right. With your industry, it could change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then
With
with
everybody
everybody
leave
pushing.
tomorrow, and then
Right.
half
right.
there goes half your money.
Road projects that we had looked at in the past that were $400,000 or $500,000 are now $1 million.
I understand.
It's just-
it's with everything.
It-
Car
it
worker on a
has.
year
It
ago
has.
$100. Now it's $500. I understand.
Unreal.
I just
of us-
wanted to see.
We
So
are
when that
tracking
rolls out
with you.
for when we're going to attack the small business or.
Well, let's not say that.
So
Yeah.
when we're gonna, not attack,
Their
but
share.
Their
of
share.
A
Their
balanced
part.
approach.
There
How
you
about
go.
that?
Yeah.
So when will we be, I would like to be, will that be in your minutes as far as when that will be discussed?
Yeah, it'll be on the agendas.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much
It'd
for your
have to
time.
be.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak tonight? Come on up. Oh, come on.
Good evening. My name's Carlo Helton. I work at Dana too. I've been there 22 years. It's come to my attention that this tax would maybe be the highest tax in Kentucky as far as the counties go. So how can the other counties manage their money? And you guys are seeming to struggle to manage your money because, you know, this puts a hardship on all of us with the way the economy is right now.
Well, first of all, yes, you're right. 2.5 is, a lot of them or there's quite a few at 2%, but there's also some other avenues of taxes that we haven't pursued. A lot of them is your insurance premium tax. We're currently, the county is not charging the insurance premium tax, which some of the counties that are at 2% have a insurance premium tax offset it. They have different county property tax rates. Their business license format is a little different, where they have net profit tax, where, as Mr. Webster was saying, where the owners of the business is paying a little bit more than what they currently are on a $25 business license. So there is some other mechanisms that those counties have. That's what, as we've explained, that we're working on other avenues to try to offset this where this can be dialed back.
Well, let me ask you this question, okay? I know this is a state thing, but I know that the state's getting ready to put $500,000 into the DRE and another 500 and something thousand into, I think it's Mason Corneth. So that's $1 million right there. So why can't the county get help from state instead of raising our taxes?
Run that by me again.
He's
What?
referencing the building projects with the Grant County Board of Education, the sanitary remodel, that's the upgrade at Mason Corinth, and those are funded by the state and through the local taxes from our property taxes that fund those schools. There is not, the only mechanism that the state could help this county with is in regards to emergency projects, and the gentleman that just presented before you, he's from the Department of Transportation, and so there are mechanisms in place, but those are restricted funds that have to be spent in certain ways. I don't know if that helps answer or clarify that.
But I mean, I'm just saying there can be other avenues that you guys can go down before taxing all of us people to where we can't survive, or, you know, this is a time where me and my wife are both going to get a raise, and it's like your guys are pulling the carpet out from underneath our feet. You know, when we get a little bit ahead, you're going to pull us under.
All the county employees didn't get a raise, so they're getting. We realize that people I work closely with is getting a negative 1%.
Yeah, but you guys probably make a lot more money than we make too.
You want to compare pay stubs? That's a problem we have as well.
Is retention of trying to keep employees because we're so far behind, but we have to try to operate off of a budget, and it makes it difficult when we've got constitutional duties in certain locations to require to have people, and we lose them, and we can get ourselves in trouble because we don't have anybody working.
Sheriff Maines, what's a deputy start in Grant County? $45,000. What's a deputy start in Boone County? $72,000. So, you know,
yeah, so you're still making $72,000. That's more than what I make.
That's
not us.
That's not here.
That's not here.
Well, even $45,000, I think. I still think I'm a little under that. So right now, because we're not getting hardly any overtime or anything at work. So,
and again, that falls back not unique to us, but across the entire United States of this inflation and the current administration, the way they're handling money, giving it to others when it needs to be staying at home.
But we are looking at other avenues to lessen the blow on the employees.
I'm just saying there's got to be something else that can take some of this windfall instead of it coming down on the people that live in the counties.
Yes.
That's
well, thank you.
Where's he going? Where'd she go? She needs to be back in here to answer questions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Douglas. I'm with the Local 3064 at Dana as well. I'm the Union Vice President currently. And I know y'all are probably getting tired of hearing about everybody having money yanked, and we are. Y'all go with this tax. I just recently became a single father. I can deal with having money taken out of my mouth, but when it comes to my 4-year-old daughter, that's a different story. And I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of food being taken out of a child's mouth. Yeah. I don't have a lot of like excessive things that I enjoy doing, I'm paying my bills, paying my rent, gas. I only do $40 a week in gas in my truck because that's all I can afford. But we're taking more food out of everybody's. I mean, everybody that's here, everybody in this whole county, you're taking more food from these families. There's only so much more budgeting that we can do. You know, I mean, somewhere there's got to be a more happy, or like a more meat more in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Understand where I'm going with this? But also, I mean, what lessons were learned from the past elected officials, and what will be done different this time around with the increased tax?
That's what we're looking at, other avenues, so that we're not just taxing the employees. And as Magistrate Riley said, currently this is our only avenue at the moment to keep us financially able to provide the services we need to provide in the county. So we are looking at these avenues as we speak.
Okay, because he made a comment about the inflation. Everything's getting inflated.
Yeah.
And, I mean, food, gas.
Equipment, utilities.
We see it.
Everything.
But then, once again, it falls back to is you're all doing this 1% tax, and it's going to affect, like I think Ben mentioned earlier, that we're getting a 50-cent raise. 50 cents on the dollar.
No.
After some of these people have been there 20-something years, I mean, it's
ridiculous.
It is
Yeah.
very ridiculous. So the more y'all want to keep tax on it, then the more it's going to hurt your people out here in this county. So with this being addressed, will this be on the next agenda?
The 18th, June 18th is at 4:30 here.
All right.
And that's only because, just to explain to folks, many folks are probably thinking, well, why isn't that tonight? You know, on behalf of your time and that. And there are KRS, is that statutorily required timelines that things have to be published to the community. And so that's kind of why that doesn't go into, like, we can't do that tonight.
All right. All right. Well, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Holly Webling. I'm from Local 3064 out of Dana. And I'm not really with a question, just a statement. Majority of our workforce right now is immigrants. They're already fleeing out of our plant because of our loss of overtime. They start digging into our pockets with this tax, they're not going to hesitate to go. And that, what are you really getting? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if no one else, oh, sorry, Debbie. Go ahead.
That's okay.
It doesn't have to do with this. I just have a quick clarification.
Okay.
You guys said that the flex funds, Debbie Angel with Gray County News, you said the flex funds, you did the motion and passed for the $180,000. Are you going to go ahead and use the other from last year as well?
Yes.
It's going to be $325?
The sad thing is, Debbie, those two funds together won't pave a road.
Right, I know, but I just wanted to make sure that I had that right.
Yeah, and you'll see it
because
in
I
the
thought that's what
budget.
you
It
said.
should be a little over 300,000.
Yeah, I think it was like 325.
Yep.
Or something.
325. And they do have to be used for the roads only. You couldn't, you couldn't use them in your road department to do gravel or
Yeah, it's for
pothole
it's
repair.
repaving only.
Repaving only. It's resurfacing restricted funds.
And the roads actually that get repaved with that money is scored on a score schedule between 1 to 10, and they have to be 7 or higher to even score. So, and we've got still quite a few roads at 7, 8, 9s. I don't know that we have any 10s, but there's a few I think should be 10s.
What does flex stand for? It's
Funds caught me off guard.
Sorry,
Look it up.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
See if we beat you to
It's the
And it is
process of it is the state funds that the county can elect to let the state spend it. And that's and I know it's got a meaning like everything else with initials, but, and I went blank on it, but they're asking us if we want to continue that paving, as you heard, on Gardnersville Road, or take those funds and let us do with what we think's more important.
On county
So-
roads.
Right. Because we could let them choose.
Yes. Anyone else tonight? If not, before we adjourn, I want to remind everyone a couple things. One, we have a meeting as soon as we adjourn here in this courtroom that we have to do twice a year that has to do with the Public Properties Corporation. Also reminding everyone that our next meeting will be Tuesday, June 18th, 2024, 4:30 p.m. And one of the main items on the agenda will be the second reading of the occupational tax. So with that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I second.
I have a motion to adjourn by Magistrate Riley, a second by Magistrate Codar. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Appears not. We're now adjourned